Hey guys, Bix Weir, roadtour.com, coming to you with a little special silver action on, I think, an important weekend. It's important to understand how close we are to silver breaking out of the manipulation, criminals going to jail. We just heard last week right here, Bloomberg, that the JPM traders, the 4 traders, are going to have to face racketeering charges. Remember, JPM Chase, the corporation, paid, what was it, $920 million to get out of this very exact racketeering charge. And apparently they're leaving their ex-employees to drift in the wind, which I have something to say about. But here, anyway, here's what was said. 4 ex-employees accused of spoofing precious metal markets, bank fraud charges tossed. Wire fraud and other charges stand. A federal judge in Chicago said 4 JPM Chase employees must face charges including racketeering in a case accusing them of manipulating the prices of precious metals futures. U.S. District Judge Edmund Chang's ruling on Tuesday paves the way for an October 19th trial in the case, which is the U.S. Department of Justice most aggressive attempt so far to police commodity spoofing. You might ask yourself, why isn't the CFTC doing this versus the Justice Department? CFTC, all they can do is slap people on the wrist and give them a fine. That's all they can do. The Justice Department can put them in jail on racketeering and all that. Prosecutors allege former Global Precious Metals Desk head Michael Nowak, traders Greg Smith, Christopher Jordan, and salesperson Jeffrey Rufo manipulated the prices of gold, silver, platinum, and palladium between, this is important, between 2008 and 2016. Attorneys declined to comment. In this ruling, Chain rejected the defendant's argument that the allegation that they engaged in single spoofing conspiracy was not enough to support the racketeering charge. Chain also allowed the other 11 charges to stand, including market manipulation, spoofing, conspiracy, commodities, and wire fraud. He cited other spoofing cases in which the judges allowed prosecutors to pursue those charges. The judge did, however, throw out bank fraud charges against Smith, Nowak, and Jordan, saying prosecutors had not pinpointed how or when they sought to deceive JPM, because they did not seek to deceive JPM. They were told what to do by the head of the commodities department, Blythe Masters, who was told what to do by Jamie Dimon. Why aren't they involved in this? JPM agreed to pay more than $290 million, admitting to wrongdoing, to settle spoofing charges. Where's Blythe Masters? Remember the dates. They were rigging the markets from 2008 to 2016. 2008 to 2016. Let's just listen to 2012, right in the middle of the rig, when she was in charge of the commodities division of JPM. Listen to this biatch, what she has to say.
You're looking at growth not only in agriculture and in metals and in oil, but across the board in all facets. That's what you're investing in. A lot of concern has been placed, though, about JPM's, particularly its positions in the metals space, and looking at your positions in silver. We talked earlier about the volatility in the silver market. Can you talk about JPM's positions and price volatility, and how are they related?
Yeah, that's a great question. And you're right, but there's been a tremendous amount of speculation, particularly in the blogosphere, about this topic. And I think the challenge is that speculation represents a misunderstanding as to the nature of our business. As I mentioned earlier, our business is a client-driven business where we execute on behalf of clients to achieve their financial and risk management objectives. The challenge is that commentators don't see all of that activity simultaneously. So just to give you a simple example, we store significant amounts of commodities, for example, silver, on behalf of customers. We operate vaults in New York City, in Singapore, and in London. And often when customers have that metal stored in our facilities, they hedge it on a forward basis through JP Morgan, who in turn hedges itself.
She just said they double hedge it. They hedge it through JPM, who in turn hedges it for itself. That's 2 hedges on one piece of metal. but that's not the exciting part.
in the commodity markets. If you see only the hedges and our activity in the futures market, but you aren't aware of the underlying client position that we're hedging, then it would suggest inaccurately that we're running a large directional position.
Yes.
In fact, that's not the case at all. We have offsetting positions. We have no stake in whether prices rise or decline. Rather, we're running a flat or a relatively natural.
So it's not because what is commonly out there is that JP Morgan is manipulating the metals market. And from what you're outlining, that is not possible because of the different sides of the business that you're a part of.
That's right. It's not part of our business model. It would be wrong, and we don't do it.
It's not part of our business model. Did you notice the evil little laugh? Classic example of someone hiding the truth. It's not part of our business model, and we don't do it. Quote, Blythe Masters, the bosses of these four guys up on charges. It's not part of our business model, and we don't do it. Remember, they're on trial for activities between 2008 and 2016. This criminal video was put out by CNBC in 2012, right in the middle of the rigging. Let's take a look at the criminal Blythe Masters. This is an article when she left in 2014. So they kept doing it for 2 more years. But the key is, when did she start at the commodities business? Blythe had been a lifer at JP Morgan. She invented the credit default swap issue that the financial system had a problem with in 2008. That was her doing. She didn't invent it. She promoted it, and she was the #1 promoter of the credit default swaps, a way to use derivatives to rig and free up a balance sheet. And then she used her influence at the ISDA, which is the derivative swap entity that coordinates all this, to smooth out the problem. Basically paper over the problem. She is the problem. But let's take a look at, when did Blythe start at JP Morgan's derivative book? Commodities. Let's see. Blythe Masters. With the firm backing of Mr. Jamie Dimon, Miss Masters took over the commodities unit in 2008. No, look at that. It's 2007. 2007. Again, these guys are busted between 2008 and 2016. She came in, said, hey, let's use derivatives to rig the price of silver. Why isn't she on trial with these idiots? Why isn't she on trial? Let's see what else she got busted for. So she gets in there in 2007, and then it says, but she attracted scrutiny here. Last spring, Miss Masters was mentioned in an investigation by FERC, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, into allegations of illegal trading in California and Michigan in electricity markets, which they did, and they paid a fine for. Investigators for the regulator found that JP Morgan had designed trading schemes that converted money-losing power plants into powerful profit centers, according to the commission document reviewed by the New York Times. In that preliminary document, investigators took aim at Miss Masters, saying she had made false and misleading statements under oath. Under oath. And you know, here's the sickest part of this whole thing. In 2013, September 25th, 2013, the CFTC, the regulator of derivatives on the COMEX, futures and options of silver, closed the case saying they couldn't find anything. So they were in there. This investigation started in 2008, right after Blythe Masters started at JP Morgan. They were there for 5 years until the statute of limitations runs out, and then they said they couldn't find anything. The Commodities Futures, the CFTC Division of Enforcement, has closed the investigation that was publicly confirmed in September 2008 concerning silver markets. The Division of Enforcement is not recommending charges to the commission in that investigation. For law enforcement and confidentiality reasons, the CFTC only rarely comments publicly on whether it has opened or closed any particular investigation. Nonetheless, given that this particular investigation was confirmed in September 2008, the CFTC deemed it inappropriate to inform the public that the investigation, or deemed it appropriate to inform the public that the investigation is no longer ongoing, based upon the law and evidence as they exist at the time, there is not a viable basis to bring an enforcement action with respect to any firm or its employees related to our investigation into the silver markets. Are you fucking kidding me? And then here we have the DOJ coming down, JP Morgan paying the largest fine ever, 4 guys going up on RICO charges because they did it. And they admitted they did it. These guys are going to go get reamed. And where is Blythe Masters? She tried to go into cryptos to control the crypto market. And then one day she disappeared right after Christmas. It was a while back. Where is she? Where's good old Blythe? And why isn't she up on trial with these guys? Where's Jamie Dimon? I want to see every Jamie Dimon email. The CFTC had access to all this. They could have gone to all these traders' emails, text messages, everything. They could have gone to Blythe Masters. Obviously, you're investigating JP Morgan for rigging the silver market. The first thing you do is look at all their emails, all their texts, all their ways to communicate. And then you go to Jamie Dimon himself, the master puppeteer. JP Morgan Chase has paid more than $40 billion in fines to get out of problems. Is that the way we want America to run? The largest bank in the world committing crime after crime after crime, everybody going free except the little guy who was told by Blythe Masters that, hey, go rig the markets. Here's how you do it. Use my derivative programs. And when she said, oh, in the blogosphere, they're saying we're rigging markets. I outlined at this same time, I called it on the road to root. It's called JP Morgan Operation Silver Slam. I outlined how they did it, where they did it, and why they did it. They started with natural gas beforehand. Back in 2006, 2007, they rigged the price. They were trying to get it under control. What do? They introduced derivatives. The Fed gave JP Morgan the right to trade in natural gas futures and options. Jamie Dimon does what he does every time. You slam the price up, get everybody excited, get the weak hands in, and then you slam it down and slam it down and slam it down, and then it's under control. I pointed out then, I said that there's my buddy Bill Murphy, who had a whistleblower of the rigging. This is the guy that was in charge of the rigging in 2011 of silver. His name is Bill Daley. Bill Daley is the head man of Jamie Dimon's, what he calls his SWAT team at JP Morgan. How big is this? Jamie Dimon had to put Bill Daley as President Obama's chief of staff for a year in 2011 to rig the silver price. That's how big it was. I gave this all I sent it to all the CFTC commissioners. They had all this information. They chose not to do anything with it. The only guy who had two guys had half a brain, Bart Shelton and Gary Gensler. Gary Gensler was the head of the CFTC at the time. Oh my God, now he's the head of the SEC. Chose not to do anything. Bart did everything he could, even came out and said JP Morgan was rigging the market. But the CFTC never shut the door. Why? Because Bart said it was a political decision not to do anything. So it's a political decision not to stop the rigging of the silver market. Welcome to America. And you wonder why we're all fucked up right now. Anyway, this is Bix Weir, roadroo.com. This is Private Road. You guys, you can get a renewal of your subscription and get a free silver coin with that renewal. That ends when silver hits $30. It could happen overnight. It could take a month. I think it's coming. We will see soon enough. But if you want to get your renewal in, go to roadroo.com, hit subscribe today, and hit the buy now button. This little bitty buy now button. And it'll be added an additional year to your current expiration date. All right. You guys take care. Talk to you later.